Hello and very warm welcome to the Arise interview. 60 minutes of big questions about the big stories from the news and beyond with fresh insight and critical analysis. I am Christian Ogodo and we're live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Coming up in the next hour, a new presidential marching order to Nigeria's top security chiefs to re-engineer the nation's security architecture and involve new strategies of arresting the deteriorating insecurity in the country. It comes on the heels of the worrisome, vulnerable and unsecured state of the nation and the recent attacks on the convoy of the Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulum, that has once again exposed the fragility of the nation's security architecture. The incident is fueling suspicion of sabotage within the military ranks and undermining the war against insurgency in the country. Today, we'll speak to the Director of Defense Media Coordination, Major General John Enenche, to get a sense of what has happened and ask again, why is insecurity on the rise in Nigeria? And later, more voices are against the killings in southern Kaduna as evil marauders continue to cause mayhem, bringing grief and distorting the livelihoods of communities and residents. Diaspora Nigerians are calling on the United Nations to intervene, even as more Nigerians are lamenting the spate of killings in the region. But the Governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, says the narrative in the public domain that the killings in southern Kaduna are a case of genocide and land grabbing is misleading and false. We'll speak to Senator Shehu Sani, who comes from Kaduna State, to get a sense of what is truly going on, all coming up in a moment. The 36 governors of the Federation, under the aegis of the Nigerian Governors Forum, say they are greatly dismayed by the worsening security situation in the country, despite government efforts to end it. It is 11 years down the line and the war against insurgency is still lingering. The security forces have been accused of sabotaging battle to defeat Boko Haram. These issues came to the fore after the convoy of Professor Babagana Zulum, the governor of Borno State, was attacked by suspected gunmen on his way to Baga, a town in Kukawa local government area of the state, to distribute food to eternally displaced persons. The governor accused the military of being behind the attack on his convoy, saying there was no Boko Haram inside. Before we speak to the defense spokesperson, here is a clip of the attack on the governor's convoy.
Idoda. La hawla wala quwwata. Ka bari mu da bana tukuna.
Sakan ka bayan wannan kada je zuwa mana wuta a banza da dan shi kaga ba iya rike abin ka gani ko mu wuce kawai ba iya yi.
It's not a problem at all. The shooting that has happened is happened. It's between the Nigerian military, maybe, and our police and
No. We did the clearance, me and the sector commander. No. We saw where they were, and there was no Boko Haram inside by that time.
We remain grateful to all.
But you know, I mean,
the commitment is not there.
There's no Boko Haram inside the town.
And for more on this, I'm now being joined by Major General John Enenche, who is the Director of Nigeria Defense Media Coordination. Very warm welcome, General.
Thank you very much.
First, what's the position of the Nigerian military on the statement credited to the Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulum, who accused the army of sabotaging the fight against ending the Boko Haram insurgency when he was attacked in Baga?
Well, let me start like this. For a personality of His Excellency, we will not react, we will respond. Because of what? We are bound by oath of allegiance to support the civil authorities and to subordinate ourselves. So there's a difference between reacting and then responding. Responding in the sense that we took our time to weigh that allegation, which of course is very weighty and grievous. Reflecting on the simple reason that we have been in this for 11 years now. And for the last 5 years, we have recorded remarkable achievement. Of course, because of expectations of the nation, of the particularly people from the Northeast, you can say that, look, their expectations are not yet met. But however, in the actual sense and the truism is that a lot has been achieved. And just like the Commander-in-Chief has said that we still expect to do more. And that is why it is not actually in our practice and in the present circumstance to say we are reacting to his statement. Yes, he may be right.
The issues,
because let's handle the issues.
Okay.
I'm going to take them. I'm just trying to place it on a basis. Now you say that the same person that you gave a child to take care of is sabotaging to kill that child. The answer is, you see, we had to begin to think, and immediately we launched an investigation. And like I said, it's a very, very heavy allegation. If you going back into history, hardly is there any VIP of his status that was not attacked in that region. The immediate past governor, the chief of army staff. So if you look at the pedigree of terrorism and insurgents and people that are collaborators, it is what in their characteristics to do that. Let me even state that a trained military man, just like us, like this, a regular combatant officer or a regular soldier who rose to the rank of sergeant, even from the sound of the weapon, you will know whether it is a common service weapon that you are using or not. That was where we started from. Back home here, when we took a forensic analysis of it. And then back in the field, we did all that. First and foremost, when you say sabotage, we looked at the strategic level. From which, is it from the high command? And we ruled that one out because, of course, we did our investigation within 24 hours. And then we now went down to the operational level. That is at the command level, to find out if there was any fifth columnist or whatever, weighing it against the ground, that the commander said, look, we cleared this place. And then the sound of the weapon coming from those 5 or 6 Boko Haram terrorists was not common to our weapon at all. The field tactics is not at all. And that was what they did, and then we now took that. So we ruled out the issue of sabotage at strategic level. And then we now ordered investigation within 24 hours to the operational level, and that is at the command level. And down the line, up till as I'm talking to you now, it went down to the section level, tactical level, that is the foot soldiers, the people that are deployed to picket. And there was nothing like that. But of course, it is normal when such a thing happens to respond like that. And that is why we are saying that it is better we work together. Having this vision of ensuring that the whole of that area goes back to where it was about 25 years ago. So our reaction is normal, that we are subordinated to constituted authorities. We have listened, but we have done all our investigations preliminary, and there is nothing like sabotage from our own camp, specifically the army as mentioned, or the command structure in place in the Northeast. So we want to assure the general public and even His Excellency that we are still very, very loyal and committed to the cause of eradicating Northeast, Borno State in particular, as the epicenter of the security challenge.
The security challenge is still, taciturn in such a way that even a commissioner I think the commissioner for local government also in Borno State had said Boko Haram still control or 7 local governments are still inaccessible to the people. What would you say about
the same
this?
commissioner that went there, he went there to complete a project. I followed it. He went there, there are some projects being conducted in some local governments, and he said he will not continue because there are not close insecurity. What do we mean by close insecurity? Like deploying permanent guards there. The structure we operate in the Northeast now, which is superior to what we had, is the super camp system. You had the governor mention that you have over 1,000 people in one place, 400 and something. In those days, as it were, when we were operating mobile strike teams, we had them in pockets of patrol teams. You could even have a platoon, just about 30 people at a location to protect and garrison at the same time. But after looking at the best practice and looking at, just like we are changing now, that look, this thing has translated to this, what do we need to do? And then the army now came up with the ground forces strategy of army super camps. The army super camps will have the ability for quick reaction in every ramification, both logistics-wise and firepower. So if he was going there, the best practice is that you now take to the adversary. You now, tell the theater commander, this is what you are going to do, and then you are now giving the protection party to go and do such a thing. That is what obtains with the other stakeholders, like the civil organization now, in a situation whereby you have the super camp system, or where you have the concentration of force.
Even the governor and some other prominent Nigerians, including retired generals, have criticized the super camp system because they say you wait for the terrorists to come before you attack.
No, it's not
you
true.
Don't go after them.
It's not true. I have the doctrine of the super camp. It's not true. It's not true at all. You don't wait. From the super camp, you now launch out all your operations. But the issue of you sitting down like a sitting dog in a very minor strength, no, that is what was cancelled out.
And yet the terrorists were able to launch mortars into Maiduguri town.
Mortar is not it's not a small arms weapon now. What mortar is a long distance weapon. You can launch mortar depending on the capacity from 500 meters, 1,800 meters, even 3 kilometers, depending on the range of the long weapon. So it's not like an AK-47 that you have 300 meters. So that is it. So when somebody is talking from the point of maybe, I have to be economical with words now, something that happened 30 years ago is not the same thing today. Super camp system was not there during the First World War or Second World War. It was not there during the Civil War. That is the new thing because of the emerging security challenges in the world. The fluidity. You need a lot of mobility. At the same time, combining it with your firepower, with your logistics support, everything, and you need concentration of force. We call it centralized control. In, out. Meanwhile, patrolling, domination, all can still be done effectively. Because as we move from the issue, from the strategy of mobile strike teams, the mobile strike teams is an offshoot, is still encompassed in the super camp. So that is it. So it is that is the tactics, that is your operational campaign system, the way it is.
Okay, General, we're going on a short break now.
Okay.
When we return, we'll look at some other criticisms, the inadequacies in the Nigerian military. You're still watching the Arise interview. We've got plenty more ahead. Stay with us. You're welcome back to the Rise interview with me, Christian Ogodo. We're live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Army, Senator Ali Ndume, has said although the armed forces have tried their best to push back the insurgency in the northeast, their efforts have been hampered by inadequate equipment and underfunding. Let's hear him.
Acts from the person that doesn't have it. The Nigerian army, have been saying it several times. They are not well equipped, they are not well funded, and they don't have what it takes. That is the number. They don't even have the number. In a war like this, the Nigerian army believes normally in every war, believes in dominating the war area. You deploy enough number of troops to all angles, and that was what the Chadians did. In fact, my investigation showed that they just deployed a fraction of their equipment. They had tankers, they had vehicles, they have assorted vehicles that carry this RPG or what they call it, and numbering over 250, as I said. They had various command, and they were well motivated. You could see the president.
Okay, I still have with me Major General John Enenche, who is the Director of Nigerian Defense Media Coordination. General, you just heard distinguished Senator Mohammed Ali Ndume. He's the Chairman Senate Committee on the Army, talking about inadequate funding, inadequate equipment, and the rest. You know, the soldiers, officers, and men are ill motivated.
Well, in my capacity as the coordinator of defense media operations, I am supposed to coordinate media operations regarding operations alone and not policy issues. What he's talking about is talking about equipment, inadequate funding. But as a general, I should be able to say something. And then motivation of troops. The one I'm talking about, if it's motivation of troops, it's rumor. It's not true. Yes, motivation has got to do with the spirit man. But if it is what it takes to motivate them, I can tell you that right from the, let me even go up a little, from the defense ministry, defense headquarters that coordinates and then, you know, handles operations for the three services, and even the particular army, they have all that in place. There are admin regulations that are strictly followed. Right from provisioning of logistics to what you get to them, to the trenches, that is the front line. The logistics, everything moves from rear to the front. So if you are talking about other issues, maybe somebody grumbling, that one is aside. But all the extant provisions in our books regarding what should motivate a service personnel in the one front, they are all provided.
Then you have that grumbling recently in the military where more than 250 soldiers tendered their resignations. And you still have that of Lance Corporal Martins, who derided the leadership of the Nigerian military because of, you know, no proper motivation, no equipment to prosecute.
Now let me
this.
start.
How do you reconcile this with
start.
what you're saying?
I will reconcile it very well for you.
Go
because
ahead.
I'm a regular combatant officer, trained commander. I trained at Jaji, taught at the Defense College, and then taught at Army War College. And I have commanded troops not only in Nigeria but outside. And I have done psychology about the behavior of human beings, and I did that for the military. There is no way you have 100% in anything of people with normal behavior. Look at that Lance Corporal. Go and take a forensic look of what he did in that video. Ask psychologists and ask doctors. Let me stop there. Is he normal?
Is he ill?
I don't know, but it seems so. I stand to be corrected.
You're still detaining.
Yes.
So tell us more.
No, you see, it has gone to the army level, but you are now saying that what he said openly and publicly from beginning to the end, analyze it. Even if you are a father or you have a group of people, is that normal in military analysis, psychological analysis? So let us wait for the investigation to come out. I don't want to put anything on the media, but I can tell you that is not enough to say that the people are not motivated. You talk about disengagement. Is there any way that water goes in and does not flow out? Is there any system in our public service that people go and don't retire? Who of them, amongst them, were they forced? Nobody was forced. We looked at it every year. How many people do we engage at enlist? So it is just some group of people capitalizing on what happened and then giving misinformation about something that is a routine activity in the armed forces. Which year don't we disengage troops, cutting across officers and soldiers? So it's just like I always say, there are a group of people, they have positioned themselves. Whatever the army does, whatever the armed forces does now, they take a swipe at it negatively. And they easily forget what has been done. Where is the foundation of what we have now? So I would prefer that people just look at the current issues and not looking at what is routine in a system. Somebody dies, and you say this person has died because of, somebody goes on leave, you say because he has, somebody say I want to leave the service. If at all he has put in his color service, which among those people has not put in his color service? The first stage of 12 years, 18 years, or 35 years. Warrant officers are even there. Will you die in any system? So, sir, I will submit that it is not true.
And is Lance Corporal Martins Idakmine, his lawyer says he's not having access to him.
That one...
Is it kept in communicando?
It's not true. What they are saying is not true. They should follow the proper channel of communication, and they will do that. He's just trying to blow the trumpet where there is nothing, as far as I'm concerned, because when that issue came up about 3 days ago, I placed a call. Thank you.
Let's quickly look at the military's de-radicalization and rehabilitation of Boko Haram defectors. It's been widely criticized that even those that you said you've de-radicalized are still going back, to the front. One was even alleged to have killed the father and rustled his cows.
Thank God you say alleged. These things don't marry up to the records I have. Because the first 280, they are all being monitored. And that is where we get feedbacks. They appoint mentors for them when they release them, particularly in the hotspots.
Are some of them in the military?
No, never. How can they be in the military?
You didn't absorb them?
How? It's an impossible.
With their tactical experience?
Let me tell you, sir, they cannot be, because we have their data. We have the Nigeria Identity Management Commission. Of course, you know now that in the recent past, they capture your biometrics. Once you have criminal records, nothing, you cannot enter any of the security agencies in this country again. We have 17 organizations that make up this DR program. From Office of the International Office for Migration, UNICEF, NIMC, federal government, all the correctional service and all. And this thing is, I went there personally, I have been there. The capturing center is there, so not a criminal, not even talk of an insurgent or a terrorist, can be recycled back into the system.
Okay.
Now, let me answer one particular one, say there is grumbling. You see, Nigeria does not exist in isolation, the armed forces, the military. No, we are bound by international humanitarian law. Laws of armed conflict, laws of war. All these things, we are parties to them. Now, let me ask you, why is it that we cannot put bombs or say lay mines like other people like because we are bound by that convention of Toronto. We cannot, we have the landmines treaty and all, but we cannot do again. In the same way, once somebody say, I surrender to you, there's nothing you can do about it. You take that person in by international best practice and laws and standards. So that is it. That is the first thing. Secondly, most of these people, 91% of them are victims of Boko Haram itself. And when they say we come in, once there is mass surrender, we segregate them. High risk, medium risk, and low risk. These categories of people are in the low risk. So the people that come are mostly victims, people that were conscripted, captured, forced into slavery, and all manner of things. Otherwise, the laws that came out, how many of them were tried in Kenji? Most of them, majority of them are in prisons now. Several long-term prison terms. So that is it. So people should not raise eyebrow.
Okay, very quickly.
Due process was followed.
All right. Very quickly before we go, tell us the wanton killings in Kaduna. It's been a mixed bag of reactions. Why is the military? We know it's supposed to be a police operations, but this is gone beyond the police. Can we? Okay, we'll get your response after the break.
Okay.
Let's take some messages, and when we return, we'll be interrogating that area of discussion. Stay with us.